When it comes to avoiding blisters, I always find that prevention is better than cure. I always try to increase the amount of distance I do every day I go on the hill in order to allow my feet to get used to mile upon mile of walking. If you've done everything you can to make sure that your footwear fits properly, and that includes covering any rough seams on the inside of your boots or your shoes, the next thing you've got to think about is socks. Now, cotton socks are a definite no-no. Of course, cotton's great at absorbing moisture, which is why all our towels are made of it. But on the hill, if we're wearing cotton socks all day, it's going to keep our skin damp. And dampness is one of the reasons we get blisters. So cotton socks are out, and instead we want to be wearing materials like polyester or wool, like these ones. Another cause of blistering is friction between the foot and the boot. You can easily get around this by wearing not one, but two pairs of socks. So first of all, I've got on here a very thin pair of merino wool socks, but you could wear synthetic polyester socks if you prefer. And over the top of these, I'm going to wear a second pair of thicker socks. Now, the actual thickness of the sock that you choose to wear depends upon where you're going. If you're going somewhere hot, you won't want a very thick sock at all. If you're going to go somewhere cold onto a glacier, you'll want a really thick sock because you don't want your feet to get cold. And it also depends upon how much room you've got in your boot. By wearing two pairs of socks like this, you're dramatically cutting down the chance of any friction occurring, which means you've gone a long way to preventing blisters even before you set out.
Carrying an unusually heavy rucksack, wearing socks with poorly positioned seams, and failing to trim toenails can all lead to blisters. Some people tape problem areas on their feet before setting out and experiment with foot lubricant to help reduce the chance of blisters developing.
Even though wool and synthetic socks do a great job of taking sweat away from the foot, if you carry a spare pair of inner socks with you and put them on at lunchtime, you'll find it's a surefire way of minimising the chance of getting any blisters at all. If you're not carrying a spare pair of socks with you, you could just try putting the left sock on the right foot and vice versa. That often helps. And while you're at it, why not air your feet for 10 minutes and put some foot powder on as well. Spending a couple of minutes treating a hot spot now is going to be a lot better than suffering for hours or even days with a blister later on. If you're going to use a plaster or a compi to treat the hot spot, one tip is to get it up to body temperature before you apply it to the skin. So I'm just going to stick mine under my armpit while I take my boots off.
Carry a few different sized pieces of Compeed and other blister treatments in a rucksack or trouser pocket so you don't have to waste time ferreting around for your medical kit. If you trim the covering to fit your foot perfectly, use scissors to create curved edges. These are less likely to accidentally peel off than square corners.
Right, that should be nicely warmed up now. When you're applying one of these to the skin, make sure that you don't get any creases in the plaster. Otherwise that's going to give you even more problems. Take the palm of your hand and apply it to the area for 30 seconds or so to make sure you've got a good firm stick to the skin. Job done. That was easy. When you're putting your socks back on, make sure you gently roll them over so that you don't end up pulling all your hard work off as the sock goes up your leg. And I'll be on my way again. When it comes to preventing blisters, prevention's always better than cure. But if you do find yourself suffering from one, stop and treat it before it spoils your day.